Here we have two Honda push mowers from different eras. The one on the left is a Honda HR215 and not up to speed on the date code and all that, but presumably 90s. And I do seem to remember these when I was a teenager and a kid. And I remember thinking like, ooh, they're fancy new lawnmowers. Because everyone was still pushing around pre-Home Depot, but like Channel, Kmart, you know, like just those kind of lawnmowers with the classic 3.5 Briggs and Stratton, which are my favorite personally. And I used to think were like newfangled expensive lawnmowers, despite them being around for a long time. And they do withstand the test of time. So this one on the right is I always mess up the model number on this, and this is probably, so somebody correct me, but this is says GCV 160, which I feel like that's more about the motor. But this was 2015. I bought this brand new because I previously to that I had bought a Kmart like MTD, what would be like equivalent probably to like a 4 or 4.5 horsepower motor, even though by then they changed how they went from the horsepower rating to the other rating that they do today. That I think one of the rings went on it because it was just it died, right? I used it way too hard for what it was. And so I did research, and I was going to get a Husqvarna with this motor on it, this Honda motor on it, but the frame just seemed a little cheaper to me. And I was also going for a little bit of aesthetics. I'm like, while the orange is cool of a Husqvarna, I didn't like those 3-spoke wheels on it as much. So I said, you know what, for another $150, I'm going with the Honda. And I didn't want to put self-propelled, because I feel like I'm youthful and fit, that I could be the self-propelled. So I know it's very rare today to find a non-self-propelled mower, especially a Honda. So this had been withstanding the test of time. Today it gets lighter use, but back then it would get full use in the yard, and then later we got a ride-on mower and just use it for trim duty. And then, even then it didn't get used all the time, because we do have some vintage mowers that we rotate in. And what I prefer is when I have one of my vintage mowers that has a 22-inch deck. I feel like it's nearly impossible to get a lawnmower with a 22-inch deck these days. They're all 21-inch. It does make a difference when you're mowing your lawn. So for when we're mowing the entire lawn at the other property, we tend to use the 22-inch weed eater. We now have 2 of those mowers. Okay, so I have to say, this HR215 Eddie found in the neighborhood. It was in front of someone's property, just take it away, right? In the neighborhood. He grabbed it, needed a new pull cord and a tune, and it runs. We recently had to clean the carburetor, little how-to or learning experience, because we have never had a carburetor off on a Honda mower before. We've been Briggs and Stratton pretty much all the way, whether it's a Quantum, a flathead, even I think Tecumseh we had. And typically what we do is we find lawnmowers either for free or for very inexpensive that either aren't running or just like somebody's getting rid of. We get it running, and depending on what it is, we either keep it for ourselves, and it can get out of control pretty quickly. Eddie actually has, Eddie's 13 and has more lawnmowers than I do. Right now at this property, I have 2, this Honda, and I have a 1986 Murray 3.5 horsepower Briggs and Stratton that needs some carburetor work, that I got for free in 2020, and I want to fully restore it. But this one is kind of like the workhorse here on the right, but the one on the left, so it is an absolute fun lawnmower to use. And I don't know if anyone really ever says fun when it comes to lawnmowers. I mean, we do, because it's like a hobby for us. But the one on the left, I've described it before, it is like a walking tractor. It really is. And I know you can get Hondas today that have just like a ride-on mower, you can engage the blade or not, right? So you can start it up, put your foot on the deck, pull it like old school. The blades are not engaged, and then you pull one of the levers and engage it, and then you can set the pace that you would like to use the self-propelled for, and go. It is a complete pleasure to use. It is a cool mower, and it's built. It's built like it is built to last. And Honda, say what you will, I never owned a foreign car or a Honda car, but in 1989, my dad bought a brand new Honda ride-on mower. It was the best riding mower we've ever had. It's unfortunately, rest in peace, it's been gone for a number of years now, but the bigger Cub Cadet I have now seems like a piece of junk compared to that Honda. Same, and I feel like the mower on the right, while only 10 years old, I feel like 20, 30 years from now, it'll still be right here. That motor is, for the most part, always starts on the first pull. It's quiet. It just runs. It runs like a clock. It's just steady. It goes. And I've observed that motor everywhere. I've seen it on street sweepers, like that you walk behind down at the beach, and I always recognize that Honda sound. And for example, where I go on vacation every year, I see the same guy pushing one of those street sweepers every summer, and that thing must run for hours because he does it every day, and it has that same motor. So these are great, and don't get me wrong, 3.5 horsepower classic Briggs & Strattons are my all-time favorite. Americana, it's what I grew up to, but these are bulletproof. So if anyone knows much more about them than I do, please chime in, because we're still learning the Honda realm. So just to get a little closer, the layout, and then what I would love to learn from somebody is, what are the differences between these motors, aside from the visuals, right? But really from a mechanical standpoint, both overhead valve, the layout is kind of the same. The exhaust on the left, exhaust comes out the front on this one, comes out the side on that one. Both have the overhead valve there, cover. They're shaped different for sure, and I wonder what has evolved and changed there. The dipsticks on the left, well, my left, if you're behind it, it's the right? Dipsticks here. What I like is the big knobs for the gas, to put the gas in, for the gas tank. Slightly different location. What this lawnmower reminds me of is, I remember the Honda tractor that we had from the late 80s had like a big gas, like it was shaped very similar like that, but underneath the rear seat. And so when I bought this years later, I thought, oh, this reminds me of the ride-on mower. Air cleaner is in here, so you have to remove that that cover to get to it. Where over here they made it a little bit more user-friendly, where you just open the door there and have access to it. This has a gas shut-off. Yours has a gas shut-off too. Yep. Yeah, I like that feature. I used to every single time cut the grass, turn off the gas, and run it dry. I don't do that really anymore. I know there's two schools of thought: keep the gas in the carburetor, keep the air out of it, and then the other thought is like, no, the gas today is no good for it. So I go back and forth on it. This has a traditional, I would say kind of traditional for today, kind of like, they say it's a 3-in-1. It's 2-in-1. 3-in-1, which I guess 2-in-1's obvious, right? You can mulch, which I usually use it on, or bag, which I might do in the fall if I'm cutting the entire lawn with it, to grab leaves as I'm cutting. But the 3 part, what's number 3? Number 3, I'm wondering, is if you leave it on the bag mode and don't put the bag on? I don't know. What do you think the third option is? Because I know on 3-in-1s that have the side shoot option, that would be the third thing, so you just blow the...
Only other thing is it's twin blade. It probably has nothing to do with it.
Yeah. It is cool, the twin blade. I've gotten comfortable working on the blades here. What I also find interesting with this is, notice the rear tires, they're bald, totally bald on this, and the front ones are, they're showing some signs. The other little thing with this that I could never figure out is that since I got it, I ordered it online and had it shipped to me. It always felt like the wheels were just off. You ever notice that with this? It's off center, like one wheel kind of lifts up. And I sometimes thought that it was Now, I messed around with the height and all that, but I wondered if it was something bent on the wheel axle, but it performs totally fine. And if it's a mow where it's just, you know, the grass is really dry and everything like that, we'll use the leaf blower, just blow off the dust. Pretty much, unless I'm in a complete hurry or the weather's all of a sudden starts raining, absolutely clean it off every time. If it's a little damp and it gets, you know, some grass stuck to it, I hit it with the hose, blast the hose underneath the deck, and then every service season, make sure we scrape anything that accumulated underneath, and that prevents the rust, right? And this one, the bagging system's a bit different, right? So it's kind of cool. So in a way, I could see why this is a 3-in-1, right? Because now with, actually, does this say 3-in-1 or no? It doesn't say anything. So this, I guess, would be a 2-in-1 because does it have a, well, it could have a mulching blade, but does it have 2 blades on it or no?
No.
So this is old school, 1 blade. And so you can either A, connect the bag to it, which is at the other location, right?
Yeah.
Or you can just use it like, or you can connect the bag to it like you would, or you can use the side chute which sticks in where the bag goes, which is clever. I think it's clever because they don't have the side chute there. It's right there. You can see the controls on this, right? So you have the blade control, right? So this will run with the blade disengaged or engaged. And then, of course, if you have them both down, you're self-propelling. Throttle, where this has gone to the, you know, by the 2000s and, you know, 2010s, throttles were a thing of the past. So this is 1 speed, you know, and this is just, it says blade control, but this will not run. This lawnmower will not run if you let go. That's how you kill it. It should just say off. So that's that. I do like the shape of this. Similar style here. And they have a similar profile, how they're good for people who are tall, or some, you know, some mowers, you know, you feel like you're kind of a little bit hunched over, whatnot. But this, and I'm 6 foot, so this is really good. And so throttle, and then your speed control. So what speed do you, when you use it, what do you prefer it at for walking speed?
I'd say 2.
2, yeah, that's where it looks like it's sitting.
Other location.
Yeah. Yep.
Really steep one, obviously 3.
Yeah. So what's fascinating is these are clearly the original wheels on this thing, and look at the treads. They look really, really good. Those are bold. But I'm just kind of playing it as, let's see what happens. At some point, it's probably going to just go right through the plastic, and I'll replace it. But you know, I could do what you do with a car, and I could rotate them. I could put the ones with more grip in the rear. But
yeah, it's just, those are plastic.
Yours
are
are rubber. That would be the difference. Yeah. Yeah. I actually always thought that these style wheels are good looking. I do think some of the modern lawnmowers, the wheels look so tacky. Like, I don't like Husqvarna's 3-spoke, as I said before. They just look so tacky. Where I just like a basic wheel. And here they kind of mimic maybe like a mag, you know, like a concave mag wheel, which is cool. Like that weed eater we have, I don't mind those, even the stars, but you know, they have their weed eater colors, you know, yellow. So here you have it. Which one would you prefer? I mean, they're both super cool. Like, well, this is super, super cool. But if they were both made side by side at the same time, which I am sure, I know today there's equivalent to this on the commercial side, they're like $1,000, if not more.
It's the HR215 now.
Yeah, or, you know, or this. I guess the answer is depending on how you're using it, right? So if you're using a mower just to kind of like trim before you use the tractor, you probably want to use this. And even this is fine. You know, it's heavy. I'd rather use a lightweight side chute like weed eater mower if I'm just, you know, trimming around the trees and just setting myself up to use the riding mower. But if I'm going full on cutting the grass, I'm probably going to want to use this one because, you know, you can disengage the blade while you move some sticks out of the way. And then at the other location, there are some hills, and I've lugged this sucker up and down those hills, and it's, in the summer, you're drenched with sweat. This, you can get a little assist if you want, going up the hill, which is great, especially if the terrain's a little slick. That is helpful. So yeah, so here we go. So let us know what you know about these mowers. And I know some of you out there actually collect these. I've seen in the Facebook, the Honda Facebook for mowers, which is a fun group to be in, whether it's riding mower or push mower. And you know, let us know what you know about these mowers, because we're learning about these Honda push mowers. But we do know you give them the slightest TLC, the slightest tender love and care, they will last a billion years. And I think this one, because we've really taken care of it, tune it every season, don't beat on it, it will be here. Eddie's kids will be using this. They'll be like, oh, we got grandpa's we got Pop-Pop's mower here. So cool. It runs on gas. Where do you get gas? And then this, Eddie will be like, this is my baby, I'm still using it, kids, like, back off. All right, well, again, let us know, and thanks for watching. And if you haven't, please subscribe, comment, like. And we do have some other lawnmowers on this channel. You may have to look a little bit, because we have a lot of other stuff too. And we appreciate you watching. Until next time. All right, so adding on to what we just talked about, we didn't start the mowers. So Eddie reminded me, so we're gonna start it up. So Eddie, you wanna start the new school before we start the old school? And I know the new schools are different than this. They have a darker color to them. So, full disclaimer, we haven't started this in a week, and let's see what we got. This is not edited, he's starting it.
Needs to be warmed up. Doesn't like being cold. Give me a few minutes, hold on.
So if anyone can tell us, so we have cleaned this carburetor, had it off, cleaned all the jets, did everything. What I'm curious is, when the blade is not engaged, is it supposed to kind of surge like that? And if not, what could it be? That would be interesting for us to know. But clearly when you engage that blade, it's totally fine, which has us a little perplexed, but it performs fine to cut the grass. Now I can really say thanks for watching. See you next time.